Michelle Lee's story shattered an entire community and exposed evil hiding in plain sight. This is her heartbreaking tale. The hospital parking garage that afternoon looked completely ordinary, identical to any other day. Anyone could enter and exit without restriction. It appeared normal. Nursing student Michelle Lee walked toward her car, unaware she would never reach home. Hardworking and kind-hearted, she inspired everyone around her. The area remained quiet, with no witnesses present to observe what unfolded. Her car was eventually found locked and completely empty. She seemed to have simply vanished at first glance. The truth proved far more terrifying. Jealousy and rage drove someone to execute a scheme that blindsided everyone. Her disappearance stemmed from this reason. What really unfolded in that silent parking lot? Who waited there for her? On October 12, 1984, Michelle was born in San Diego, California. A large and close-knit family surrounded her. Her home buzzed with constant activity, filled with 15 cousins, countless aunts and uncles, and her parents. Christine, their cousin, lived with Michelle, her brother Michael, and her parents. Her mother, a compassionate nurse, became Michelle's inspiration, and she yearned to follow in her footsteps. That dream transformed into her driving purpose after her mother passed away. As a tribute to her mother's legacy, Michelle devoted herself to caring for her family. Michael, her brother, explained how Michelle assumed responsibility with love and resilience, guiding everyone around her. She became a mentor figure for everyone. Cooking and driving were among the skills she taught her cousins and siblings, and she consistently offered support during difficult times. Everyone turned to her. Michelle waited 5 years before gaining admission to a nursing program, but she ultimately secured acceptance into an accelerated 1-year course. She neared completion by May 2011, standing just 6 months away from graduating. Michelle completed her final day of clinical rotation at Kaiser Permanente Maternity Ward in Hayward. Throughout her studies, she maintained flawless grades. Michelle earned recognition for her positive attitude and eagerness to accept extra tasks. She remained consistently cheerful and hardworking. She worked her usual shift at the hospital on May 27, 2011. Friday represented the final day of rotation for student nurses at the facility, creating excitement about the approaching weekend. Friends in Reno awaited Michelle's planned visit. She informed her supervisor at 6:55 p.m. that she needed to retrieve something from her car in the third-floor parking garage. A quiet corner held her white Honda SUV. Security footage later captured Michelle approaching her car, pausing hesitantly, then abruptly reversing direction. Her SUV finally exited the parking lot after approximately 17 minutes. When staff assembled the students to conclude the day by 9:00 p.m., Michelle could not be found. The break room still held her coat. Her phone remained unanswered and she never signed out. Her instructor partnered with hospital security to search the parking garage where Michelle typically parked. Silence and emptiness filled the area. Michelle's SUV suddenly reappeared at the hospital, approaching the third floor. Her teacher shouted while attempting to stop the car, but it paused momentarily before turning around and speeding away again. The teacher felt certain Michelle wasn't driving, recognizing the behavior as completely uncharacteristic. Police received immediate notification. Michelle had been missing for over 10 hours by the following morning, prompting numerous friends and co-workers to flood the police station. The police initiated their search in the hospital parking lot, convinced something terrible had occurred. Investigators soon uncovered bloodstains in Michelle's previous parking location. They found her SUV locked in a visitor spot near an apartment complex close to the hospital around 9:02 a.m. Michelle's bag contained her laptop and ID, but also held another ID belonging to an unfamiliar person. Reports indicated that ID had been stolen mere days before Michelle vanished. The police immediately rejected any notion of a random attack. Careful planning was evident. Someone knowledgeable about Michelle's routine likely wielded the stolen ID to approach her. Hospital records disclosed that approximately 30 minutes after Michelle departed for her car, a woman identifying herself as Michelle contacted the emergency room requesting her teacher. Upon learning she had dialed the wrong department, the caller asked that a message be relayed to the appropriate person. claiming the father of Michelle's children experienced a heart attack. During the police investigation of Michelle's car, her brother Michael received a text from her phone declaring, "I'm okay." Another message quickly followed stating, "I'm not missing." A message appeared explaining her phone malfunction. The battery had died and everything had been erased. Friends received texts too, but each message contradicted the others. Her tire had gone flat. She had returned to Reno. She wasn't well and required a break from Facebook and other social media. It became obvious. When her ex-boyfriend messaged her, the response read simply, "Who is this?" The reward for information reached $20,000 by May 31st. That amount nearly doubled to backdoll $5,000 within mere days. A private investigator joined the case at the Laffel family's request, and over 100 volunteers participated in the search. 14 groups divided to cover enormous expanses of land. The reward eventually climbed to $100,000. Police repeatedly encountered the name Giselle Esteban while investigating Michelle's life, an old friend. These two had shared a very close bond and even lived together during college. Scott Markin was Giselle's partner, and together they raised a 6-year-old daughter. Tensions reignited between Michelle and Giselle after Giselle and Scott separated. Michelle and Scott had enjoyed a few casual dates previously, but both agreed that maintaining friendship worked best. Giselle couldn't dismiss the suspicion that something deeper existed between them. Despite having no legitimate reason for concern, Giselle started behaving differently toward Michelle. Michelle refused to abandon her connection with Scott simply to satisfy Giselle's feelings. Those feelings represented false jealousy since Scott remained just a friend. Michelle had progressed beyond that and was dating someone else. Michelle and Giselle's friendship terminated at that point. Police interviewed Giselle, then 27 years old, and she openly displayed her intense dislike for Michelle. The investigation subsequently focused on Scott. Their next discovery would transform the entire case. Scott maintained a constant presence, familiar to many people who knew Michelle. He even participated in the search efforts following Michelle's disappearance. His apparent sincerity and visible distress during questioning struck detectives powerfully. Their relationship endured constant ups and downs and recurring arguments. During one especially difficult period, Giselle relocated back to her family, bringing their daughter along. Scott remained profoundly concerned about his daughter's well-being despite the chaos. He attempted reconciliation with Giselle multiple times to establish stability, but those efforts consistently failed. Scott presented police with an extensive series of messages from Giselle, numerous ones overflowing with anger and hostility targeting Michelle. An early text stated, "I hope you find what you're looking for in someone as disgusting as her." Another message branded Michelle a home wrecker and warned she wouldn't remain a problem much longer. The threats intensified with texts declaring, "Your Giles will get what she deserves, and she won't pass her midterms." Giselle had also messaged Michelle directly, demanding she maintain distance, including one stating, "If you were ever really a friend to Scott or me, you just leave us alone. You're the one who followed me to San Francisco." The situation escalated alarmingly when Scott played a recording he had secretly captured during one of Giselle's furious outbursts. Their daughter occupied the box seat of the car during the recording. Giselle discussed Michelle in it and issued chilling threats. Her cold, steady voice declared, "If you do it again, this is your last and final chance. I'm going to kill you and her. That's something you can take to the grave." Scott revealed that Giselle had completed a psychiatric evaluation at the hospital where doctors diagnosed her with bipolar disorder and manic depression. She would sometimes appear uninvited at his house, entering quietly and sitting alone until someone discovered her presence. Scott ultimately received full custody of their daughter. Following this ruling, conditions worsened significantly. Giselle relocated back to Hayward to remain nearby, and the situation intensified until a judge issued a restraining order barring her from approaching within 100 feet of Scott or his family. Just 3 days before Michelle Lee disappeared, the restraining order was issued. Hayward police started collaborating with Fairfield authorities around the same time to examine a similar case from the previous year involving a nurse with the identical last name who had vanished without a trace. Michelle's car was discovered locked and secured, unlike the Fairfield case, suggesting that whoever drove it last exercised caution to avoid leaving evidence behind. Surveillance footage underwent review, and her family maintained hope for her safe return. That hope started diminishing when they discovered that Michelle's blood had been found inside her vehicle. Police confirmed that Michelle's disappearance was now officially classified as a murder investigation. Although details were scarce, her family refused to surrender despite the heartbreaking news and persisted in searching for her. Gisele's name surfaced repeatedly during the investigation, prompting police to conduct a formal interview. She appeared pregnant at the time and stated she had visited the hospital the night Michelle disappeared for a checkup. When questioned about their previous friendship, she explained that things had shifted after what she characterized as a betrayal. Police released Giselle after the interview, but continued monitoring her closely, even attaching a GPS tracker to her car. They remain convinced she participated in Michelle's disappearance, though uncertainty existed about whether she acted alone. Investigators pondered whether she could have executed the crime independently given her physical stature. Giselle emerged as the primary person of interest in the case as suspicions grew and more evidence surfaced. A forensic team joined the police at Giselle's apartment, meticulously examining her car and searching through her trash for clues. No formal charges had been filed against Giselle at that stage despite the concentrated focus on her. She publicly rejected any involvement in Michelle's disappearance. The investigation took a dramatic turn when Scott contacted police about a chilling discovery. The back seat of his own vehicle contained Michelle's phone. Surveillance footage showed that Giselle's car had visited Scott Street repeatedly, often stopping outside his house. Authorities believe she intentionally planted Michelle's phone there. Security at the nursing school examined access logs connected to a stolen ID badge, which was later found in Michelle's Honda, offering additional evidence. The badge was used to enter restricted areas of the campus on May 26th, just one day before Michelle disappeared, and surveillance confirmed it was Giselle Esteban who used it. Giselle acquired the ID by impersonating a prospective student. She explored the building, trying to access locked doors and classrooms. She returned later, after school hours, wearing a white lab coat, re-entered through a back door, repeated her steps, inspected computers, and finally reached a teacher's desk where she studied schedules for Michelle and other students. Giselle possessed everything she needed with this knowledge of Michelle's whereabouts and class dismissal times. Cell phone records showed that Michelle's and Giselle's phones were positioned in the same area simultaneously after Michelle disappeared. Witnesses observed Giselle entering an Apple store the following day where she requested staff unlock an iPhone, claiming her daughter had accidentally locked. After obtaining access, she exited the store and was recorded on surveillance footage using the phone to send misleading messages to Michelle's friends from a nearby restaurant. Cell tower data verified it was Michelle's phone, which Giselle was using while pretending to be hers, demonstrated in the video. Investigators had accumulated substantial evidence despite the absence of a body. Giselle Esteban, age 27, faced arrest at her home and received charges of first-degree murder. Investigators discovered Michelle's blood on the soles of a pair of shoes located near Giselle's front door. Furthermore, a strand of Giselle's hair was recovered inside Michelle's car, and her DNA appeared on the steering wheel. Michelle remained missing at the time of Giselle's arrest. Her family reported her missing, declaring, "Our focus is and will always be to bring Michelle home. We can't feel at peace until we know where she is." The case grew darker for police after they investigated Giselle's computer. During the days preceding Michelle's disappearance, Giselle had been researching how to stealthily cause heart attacks, how to follow someone without being detected, how to access locked areas, and the effects of poisons like carbon monoxide and potassium chloride. Following Michelle's failure to return, Giselle searched her name online over 300 times. Then, on September 17th, 10 days after Giselle's arrest, Michelle's family confronted their worst nightmare. Authorities discovered Michelle Lee's body in a shallow grave in a remote, rugged area. About 12 miles from Gisela Esteban's home following 3 long months of search, the remains were so deteriorated that only bones remained, preventing the coroner from determining the exact cause of death. California police verified that the body parts found in a canyon in the San Francisco Bay Area belonged to the nursing student who had gone missing in May. After pleading not guilty, Gisela Esteban faced trial in September 2012. During the proceedings, she confessed to killing Michelle, but her defense contended that the act was not premeditated. They asserted it was a spontaneous outburst, fueled by anger and emotion rather than a calculated plan. Esteban's lawyers attempted to have the charge reduced from first-degree murder to voluntary manslaughter. Giselle remained emotionally detached throughout the trial. She declined to testify in her own defense and never displayed any remorse. Observers remarked on her cold demeanor. She sat motionless, expressionless, avoiding eye contact, and displayed no reaction to the emotional testimonies from Michelle's family. Certain crucial details about the encounter remained unclear. Prosecutors presented a persuasive theory, proposing that Giselle either waited in the parking garage knowing Michelle's routine or intentionally lured her there with a message. Giselle used Michelle's schedule to know precisely when to catch her off guard and attack her brutally, likely with a sharp weapon. This explanation justified the presence of Michelle's blood, the swift nature of the crime, and how the Giselle managed to hide Michelle in the back of the car and leave without drawing attention. The prosecutor characterized the crime in harsh terms, labeling Giselle a sociopath and stressing that this was not a spontaneous act. He maintained that the attack was meticulously planned and deliberate, catching the victim completely unaware. The jury convicted Gisela Esteban of first-degree murder. True to form, she remained emotionless as the verdict was announced. She even commented later that if she had been on the jury, she probably would have found herself guilty as well. The judge, a veteran of decades on the bench, characterized the evidence as some of the most disturbing he had ever witnessed in court. Gisela Esteban received a sentence of 25 years to life in prison. A pointless act of violence shattered one family while another was devastated by its consequences. Michelle's family delivered heartfelt statements during the sentencing. When her brother Michael discussed Michelle's dream of becoming a nurse like their late mother, he broke down in tears. Those dreams were ended in a hospital parking garage in the Bay Area. False assumptions and jealousy drove someone to take her life. Prosecutors revealed that Giselle was convinced Michelle was trying to steal her boyfriend despite having no evidence. Murder ultimately resulted from that mistaken belief. While serving her sentence, Giselle later gave birth to a son. The baby's father received custody of the child. Although rumors circulated that Scott was the father, he denied it, and the true identity of the child's father remains unknown. Michelle's family transformed their grief into activism. Following Michelle's death, partnering with organizations dedicated to finding missing persons and raising awareness for other victims. Michelle's brother Michael discovered some comfort in believing that she was reunited with her mother. He said that thought helped ease some of the fear and pain. If you found this case fascinating, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We post crime case videos every night. Until next time, stay sharp, stay vigilant.